time. We built this presentation about 5 years ago because we had so many people asking about kindergarten. So welcome, this is Kindergarten 101, everything you need to know but didn't know who to ask.
Here's our agenda for the evening. We're going to talk about what to expect as a parent, how will kindergarten change things, what types of programs exist in our area, what are the differences between the neighborhood, choice, magnet, charter, and private schools, what questions should you be asking, what should you be thinking about when choosing the program for your kindergartner, and what skills should we be practicing before kindergarten begins. A little bit about who we are. I'm Ashley Dewar. I'm the 5-8 assistant principal here at Westgate. I also was an educator and taught 2nd, 5th, and 6th grades. I am also a 3rd and 8th grade mom of students at Westgate.
And I am Sharon Collins. I am the executive director of Westgate Community School. I've been an educator, we'll say more than 25 years, both in Chicagoland and here at Westgate. This is my 13th year here, and I am a lucky mom of a 4th grade student. If you think of questions during the presentation, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll make sure to answer them if we don't answer them during the presentation. So why are we doing this presentation? Because it is not Westgate Community School specific. It's really about being a kindergarten parent and thinking about our kindergarten kids. So at Westgate Community School, we have a deep commitment to community service. And this week is a week we celebrate service. It's called Kindness Week at our school. And we like to do this presentation during this week to give back to our community and give back to families who give so very much to our community. So that's where we're grounded in community service and why we do this presentation. We also had growing questions from prospective families about, what does my child need to know? How can I help them be prepared? What is it going to be like for us, especially if it's your first child or only child going into kindergarten? There are a lot of questions that come up. We have a commitment to school options and really sharing the information, because I say all the time, when a child meets the right educational programming, magic happens. So really, when I was a kinder parent, I know even though I worked at Westgate, I looked at our neighborhood school. I went to other charter presentations. I thought about, do we want private school? What else is available? And so it really is a commitment to sharing all of the options we have in Colorado and in our community. This is a huge decision. It really is a big decision that is going to be a part of your life for possibly the next 9, or in the case of Westgate, 13 years, that you can be a part of this community. So it's a big decision, and it's a huge transition for the family, no matter if it's your first, second, fifth, eighth child going into kindergarten. It really is a big decision and a transition for the whole family. So where should we start? As I was saying, your family and your child is the priority here. When I was a kindergarten parent, prospective parent, I heard so much. You should do this, you should look at this, you should ask this. And it felt like so much pressure. And even though I had been in education for over 20 years at that point, I really found myself asking questions. And what centered me was, who's my child and what is best for him? And I really feel like when you hear it and go to that place as a parent, you just know it. And so what are the needs and wants for your family and for your child? And always remember, when you're at presentations as a prospective kinder parent, This is not about the school and what the school wants. This is about your child and your family. And you need to keep that in the forefront of your mind. What are the questions that you should be asking for your child? Only you can make this decision. And it's all about you knowing what's right. And when you quiet the noise around you and say, this school just felt right to me, then you know you have your answer. Um, Internet and social media can confuse the situation even more because there's great schools, there's niche, there's Google reviews, there's Yelp reviews, there's reviews on Facebook and Instagram, and sometimes it's almost too much. And as we know, reviews usually when I go to restaurants, I'm like overjoyed with a place or like really bummed out if I leave a review. So you're missing that middle voice who are just really happy and content. And I mean that for all schools and all programs out there. So it's really up to you. Go to parent nights, tour the schools, get in there, see kids, and ask the right questions.
So I'm sure you're wondering, how will kindergarten change things at home? It changes so much at home, particularly the time and the schedule. You have to go to bed on time. You got to get up early in the morning. You got to set aside enough time to get ready, to eat, and to get to school by the start time. And it can be tough. I know daycare feeds a lot of kids. They feed them breakfast, lunch, snacks. So you got to start thinking about packing your lunch, packing snacks. And, we're still working on leaving on time. That's a big one. And then the school work-life balance. What's homework like at the school you choose? Westgate has a no homework policy unless the student was unproductive during the day, but not all schools are this way. This changes the evenings for sure. Also, what about like clubs and after school activities? My kids were so tired coming home after school. They didn't really want to do a whole lot of the extra at first. They needed to get into the routine, get used to everything. My youngest would fall asleep during drive line waiting to get picked up. So it was a whole routine to get used to. And then the dinner table talk. That's the best. It's the start of the how was your day conversations. It's the discussions that we all know and grew up with, and we get to start them with our kids. Some kids share more than others, and hopefully yours will share lots about their teacher, their classmates, all the activities they get to do at school. I know kids always talk a lot about what they do at home at school and what they do at school at home. So I know one of the first things the kindergarten teacher told me was, I won't believe everything that I hear about you if you don't believe everything you hear about me. And that is so true. And then they also are processing new information. So their brains are working so hard and growing so much. They're getting those social skills, the academic skills, and they're working really hard. So it really helps me to remember that you not to believe everything that you hear. Because sometimes 5 and 6 year olds process information in a different way because they really feel those feelings and they're really big. And it's your chance to be inquisitive and to ask more questions, to get to know more about your child and their teacher and about what they're doing during the day. And then that gets to help you navigate those social challenges and changes, help them develop friends, work through those social situations, and all the fun stuff that the little 5 and 6 year olds get to do.
I'm going to talk a little bit about all the school options in our area. And they include all of the Adams 12, Brighton 27J, all of the district neighborhood schools, as well as their choice programs. And within the choice program, you can choose another neighborhood school to choice into, or you can choose something called a magnet school, which we'll talk about. There are many charters in our community, homeschool options, private school options, and then there are also kindergarten programs within private preschools. So magnet schools, I'm going to speak about Adams 12 because Westgate is part of the Adams 12 school district as a charter school. But they do have 4 magnet schools, K-5 studio school, And then the others are K-8, two STEM schools, STEM Launch and STEM Lab, and then they have Holstrom. These are all free programs, just like any public school, and they are part of the Adams 12 choice system. And so to choice into a magnet school or into another neighborhood school, you have to fill out the choice application for Adams 12. If you're in another district, look to your district. They likely have a choice program as well. Charter schools. We are public schools, and we are district run or they're run by the state, which is Charter School Institute. So if you hear Charter School Institute or CSI in a charter school presentation, that means they're run by the state entity called Charter School Institute. Or like Westgate, we are run and authorized through our district, Adams 12. We are also free, public school. And in Adams 12, the charters here are Westgate Community School, and we are a K-12 gifted education for the whole child. And our high school is an early college program where our high schoolers can earn an associate's degree in the same time they earn their high school diploma. Free to parents. So you get the associate's degree, 2 years of college free. Prospect Ridge Academy is also K-12, and they are a core knowledge program, college prep, and they have a focus on student athletes at the high school level. Stargate School is a K-12 school for gifted and talented students. And New America School is only a high school, and they are an alternative high school program. And they have 3 schools within Colorado for New America School. You may have heard of it because it is the school that Jared Polis started before he was governor. Other nearby but are not Adams 12 schools are Pinnacle, the Academy, and Global Village. Online and homeschooling. There are many online options, especially post-COVID. Adams 12 does have something called 5-Star Online, where you can have your child online at home. And there are other options that are free. They are like a charter school, but statewide. And Connections Academy is one of them. There are many online programs. Some are national, some are only Colorado schools. There are hybrid options. So there are some school programs where you're online 3 days and you come in 2 days or half day. So you need to look into hybrid options if that is something that interests you. There's also home-based learning where you're not sending your child to an online program, but you are providing the education for your child. And you need to file a letter of intent with your district, no matter what district it is in Colorado, at least 14 days prior to beginning your homeschool journey. So even if your child is in a neighborhood school, if you decide, hey, I'm gonna homeschool now, you have to provide that letter, and then in 14 days, the homeschool journey and process will begin. So there are many homeschool groups and meetups within our community here. Go online, look up homeschool meetups or homeschool groups, and you can get together with other homeschool families to do some enrichment activities, some social activities, sports, things like that. Our Denver metro area really has a lot to offer in terms of online and homeschooling. Private schools. This is where tuition comes in. So really make sure you're looking at what the cost is, not only the tuition, but the fees, and check into financial aid opportunities. Lot many of the schools have financial aid, and you can also research what percentage of the students receive financial aid as you're doing your research for private schools. Each private school has a unique application and admission process. And I should say to each charter school, I'll hit this, they have a unique application process as well. This is not associated with any school district. They are independent, they stand alone. They typically have their own board of directors, their own admission policies, and you just really need to do your research and go and visit those schools. Private schools include religious-based schools and those independent schools. Some of the private schools around here that are preschools who have kindergarten are Hope Montessori, Eastlake Montessori, and Goddard School. And then another well-known private school in our area is the Dawson School. And so those are some you can look at if you're thinking maybe private school is right for your family. So here are some important dates. For neighborhood schools in Adams 12, you need to register through Infinite Campus. And there are first round lottery dates. They have a choice application that you fill out, and that's for magnet schools, or if you want to choose a different school. So it's sort of like first choice, second choice, third choice, and you put that in. The first round lottery results went out on February 6th for Adams 12. But there is a second round, and that application you'll see at the bottom of the slide needs to be filled out by March 31st. And that's the same thing for their magnet schools. So there's applications. Some of the magnet schools, definitely the high school programs, have specific applications that you need to fill out. So you need to go to that school's website and see, do I fill out just the choice application, or am I also filling out a specific application to this program? So application, they offer a seat offer, you accept the seat offer, and then you enroll. Very much like any neighborhood school. Charter schools have applications, again, seat offers, and then you accept the offer, and then you do the enrollment process. Westgate, our initial lottery ran on February 6th as well. And we have rolling offers. And what Adams 12 schools tried to do is align this process to make it easier for families. So all of the charter schools try to get as close to that as possible. And they run their lottery, people get their seat offers, and they have 5 days to accept or decline the seat offer. And then you can check the other websites. I don't know as much about Global Village and Pinnacle and Academy because they're not Adams 12 schools. Private schools are an individual application to that school. Usually there's also a fee to apply for a private school. They extend seat offers. Sometimes after the application, you may need to do an interview or tour with your child for acceptance into the private school. You accept the offer and you follow their enrollment process. So check those individual websites for deadlines and important dates. Now, choice into another school, you might hear people in the neighborhood or friends at the park say, oh, we choiced into this school within your district. And that means it's not their neighborhood school, the school which your boundary defines for you. It is the neighborhood that's maybe outside. Maybe it's the closest school to your work. And you want to choice into that school. So it's outside your boundary. You apply for Adams 12 choice. January 1st, the first round was complete. March 31st is the second round. And then the last round will open up April 16th, and then they do rolling until August 1st. For charter schools, our charter school, our lottery went. Anybody who didn't get a seat goes into the wait pool. And we also do rolling enrollment. As seats are declined, the next seat is offered.
So what happens after you're accepted? You can only accept one seat in the district, traditional, magnet, charter school, no matter which one, just one of them at a time. So you have 5 days to accept the seat. You also need to let the school know if your child has an IEP for special education or a 504 plan in place from preschool so they can be sure to be prepared. Also, if you don't accept the seat, it's really nice to let the school know because then the others in the waiting list can then go ahead and get their seat offer. You might not hear from the school until it's closer to summer or even July or August. This is normal. Teachers and administrators are finishing up their current year and they're just getting everything settled. Some schools send out a new parent newsletter or other information, and some don't. So you might be asking yourself, what questions should I ask the schools? What programs do you offer that serve all children? What does every student get here? What makes your school unique is a good one. How do academics help all children grow? And how do you meet the individual needs of learners? Not all kindergartners learn the same. And then what does school or family partnership look and feel like? How will your school support the social and emotional growth of children? And then how will you respond if the school cannot answer in a tangible way? Don't be afraid to ask for specifics. Be aware of buzzwords like SEL, social emotional learning, whole child, homework, STEM, all those fun ones.
Definitely. And I would always ask too about recess. We have to add that. How much recess do kindergartners get? How much outside time do they get? That might be a great question to ask for your kid too. Um, so I'm going to talk a little bit about setting your child up for like academic school success. What do they need to know? This is one of our kindergarten classes here on Pajama Day. So can they sit upright on a carpet for up to 10 minutes? This is called carpet time in almost every school, and they start the day or they may start the lesson on carpet time. And so this is a skill you might want to start to like see when you're reading a book to your child at home. Like, can they sit on the floor if you're on the floor with them? Or if you're in a chair, is it comfortable for them? And it is a skill you have to build up to. So you might start with 2 or 3 minutes and build up. Can they follow two-step directions? Um, and then practicing up to 3 steps. In kindergarten time, they get up to 3-step directions. So, can you say something like, I used to hear one of our kindergarten teachers say, cubby, cushion, carpet. And so that meant to the kids like, put all your things in your cubby, grab your cushion, and let's meet on the carpet. So she would say one word directions. And so by the end of the year, they could follow those 3-step directions in many different ways. But if you're starting now with your almost 5-year-old or 5-year-old, can they follow 2-step directions? And see how you can build that skill. Emerging fine motor and writing skills, coloring, functional pencil grip. Are they holding their pencil like this, or are they holding it in sort of the tripod hold? So looking at those things will help your child, and practicing those skills now. And then left to right orientation when they're reading or turning a page within books. That we turn the pages, and able to use scissors or hold scissors, even if they're cutting. Don't look for perfection. Can they hold the scissors? Do they understand what they're used for? Not sideways, but the thumb on top. Those kinds of things can really help. Can they recognize and write their own name? And the writing may not be perfect, or letters may be backwards, and that's all normal. But do they recognize their name if it was on their cubby or on their table spot? That's very helpful to them to feel comfortable in school. Um, and then emerging alphabet and number skills. Some kids are whizzes and they know all the alphabet, and they know their numbers to 100. And some, if they get to 5 is great. If they know their alphabet, do they know the sounds? You can start saying, what does A sound like? What does, B sound like? And so they can start thinking about the sounds that the letters make. Um, separate from a parent without getting overly upset. So how do we do that? How do we practice, separating? And they can go with someone else, or you can say, you're, reading this book right now in this room, and I'm going to go to the kitchen, and you leave. That they're not with you all of the time. That's something that's hard for some kids if they haven't practiced that before. It's not something they've experienced. Managing big emotions. If they lose a game or they're feeling sad, how do we talk through that? What are some strategies we use at home? Do you blow out the candle? Do you count to 5? Do you feel your belly breathing? These are some things that you can start to practice, or, setting them up for success. Okay, we're going to do this in a few minutes. Like, get your brain ready, to go to bed, get your brain ready. We're going to brush our teeth and go to bed, those 2-step directions. And losing a game, it's okay to practice that at home. It actually became something joyful for my husband and I when we started doing that. And using words to express needs and wants. So if your child needs to go to the restroom or whatever, having them actually ask you all the way, I'm hungry, I need a break, I'm sad, can I get something, having them actually ask you, so they're practicing that skill. As parents, we know they start to ask and we're like grabbing for it. We know what they want. We've got them. You feel their needs. But having them being able to truly express that through words is really important. Can they share? Do they listen to each other? Do they not interrupt when somebody else is speaking? Do they know how to raise a hand? And then navigating conflict. If somebody makes them upset or takes a toy, do they know they can go tell an adult? Those kinds of things, talking about that in sort of a social story. Boy, I would be really upset if I was playing with this toy and someone took from me. What would you do? Or you could say, I would get up and tell the teacher if somebody. So really thinking through those social interactions. And then being able to share a community space. This was something we had to work on. I have an only child. And so, like, he was at home during COVID, his last year of preschool, and it was like, this is all my space. So even though he had learned some of those skills in preschool, and you'll have your children home possibly over the summer, they forget how to share space. So how do we do that? How do we share with others at the park? Those are some academic skills that will be helpful. Oh, you're on mute. Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
I saw that. It told me. So, what independent skills should you be practicing at home? Zipping up a jacket, putting on a hat and gloves if needed. Especially if it's the first time wearing gloves from mittens, that can be hard for them to learn how to spread their fingers out to get them in the gloves. Independent toileting, wiping, changing if there's an accident, knowing what to do, when to go and not to hold it too long until it's too late. And then there's some car lane skills, like getting in and out of the car seat, buckling and unbuckling themselves. This summer is a great time to practice. Opening and closing the car door is a tough one. My youngest still like has to put one foot up on the door and yank the door open because she's so little. And then saying goodbye quickly and going into school. You definitely need to say goodbye, quick bye in the car, not a big get out and hug and everything, because then they just want to stay with you more too. And then safe hands and bodies, reminding them that we need to have safe hands and bodies, especially when they're upset and they want something that they don't have. And then again, sitting on the carpet, ready to listen, building up to the 5 or 6 minutes, however old they are is typically appropriate to start with. Opening a lunchbox or snacks, those little applesauce containers, we have to twist the top off. The Go-Gurts, we usually just cut them with scissors now because it's easier than ripping the little plastic piece off. And then their water bottle, can they open that? Do they know how? Do they know how to put it back on? Can they fill it all up on their own? And then eating in a lunch period with distractions. This is a big one. There's so many things in a classroom to look at and talk about, and friends have different food. So they definitely need to be able to eat within the 20 to 30 minutes that they have. And then carrying their own items. Those backpacks are big on the little kindergartners' bodies. So can they carry it? Is it up high enough? Can they fit their lunchbox in, or do they carry that? And then no more midday naps. I know we all wish we could still take them, but they got to get used to the no midday naps because it's a long day for them. And then how to ask for help going to the bathroom, help with peer conflicts, help with their work. Do they know how to raise their hand, to wait patiently for the adult when there's other kids waiting? And then cleaning up after themselves and sharing that community space. So that's all the skills that you should practice at home and over the summer.
It seems like such a lot, Ashley, and as a parent, it is, but we are lucky, even though it doesn't feel like winter right now in Colorado. We will get some winter, and now is the time to practice like the zipping and taking off of jackets and all of those things. What if the arm gets pulled inside out? Can we pull it out by ourselves? Because they want to get out to recess when it's recess time. And if they have to wait for the teacher to come and do all of those things, it takes time. And then they don't get out as quickly. So the more they can manage those skills, those independent skills, it really is something you don't think about as a parent all the time. All right. Thank you for that. I know some questions came in the chat. I hope we answered them. I saw um, yes, so for some charter schools, the first initial lottery deadline may have passed, but all charter schools as well as magnet schools keep wait lists. So you can continue to apply even if you missed that initial deadline. That's totally fine to do. There are kindergarten parents who may not have even realized they needed to apply yet. So it's never too late to apply because as the rolling admission happens, seat offers are given and a person may take that and then they open up the seat offer where they were. And so those seats keep happening. For Stargate and Westgate, they're different in many ways, and I don't want to speak for Stargate, even though I know Robin very well, and I know their programming very well. For Westgate, our focus is on whole child education and gifted education for all students. And it's all day, every day. So all of our teachers are trained in a program called Depth and Complexity. It's actually a pedagogy that we use in all classrooms to not always move students ahead another year, but it's about making them think about subjects and topics in a more deep and complex manner. And an example I like to give is a book called The Call of the Wild. It's about a third or a fourth grade reading level book, and a third or a fourth grader could read that book. You could teach that book at a third or fourth grade level. When I was a gifted specialist, I taught that book to eighth graders. And you can teach it in a way where you're talking about whether the human being is primitive or they are more human, and are they working from their primitive mindset or a more elevated human mindset in different times of their life. So yes, you can teach the book. It's a book about a dog that goes on a journey, or it's a book about who we are as human beings and our complex emotions, and if we are primitive or civilized in the way we respond. It's a very different way to teach. So for Westgate, it's about whole child. We are grounded in service learning. Every grade, every year does service learning. We are grounded in environmental education with our animals and our gardens and our environmental campus. And then the depth and complexity we use in all classrooms K-12. And at Stargate, I know acceleration is something they do more, so I would ask them a little bit about their philosophy about gifted education and how they view that. The classes at Westgate for kindergarten, the sweet spot is 18. So we find, I know my next door neighbor is a kindergarten teacher in Adams 12, and she has 30, 25 to 30 kids every single year. This year it's 30. 18's the sweet spot. We find the most we've done is 20, and we have classes sometimes. If we hire another teacher, then they can get down to about 15. But that's good. How much learning is done on a tablet? I can speak to this for Westgate. Other schools you can ask. In kindergarten, it's none. It's zero. So they are actively learning and hands-on learning all day. They have an hour of recess. They have two 15-minute recesses, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and they get 30 minutes right before a 30-minute lunch. So they run outside, get 30 minutes of sun, which is so important for kids, and they come inside and they're hungry and they're talking about what happened in recess, and they have 30 minutes to eat. Another great question is ask schools how long kids have to eat, and are they eating before recess? Because that's when lunches get thrown in the garbage. We do at Westgate offer arts theater. There are clubs right now, and they're doing oh, what is it, Ashley? Are they doing the little kids? I think it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So yes, and then our high school has done things like improv and other kind of theater. We have a rock band in 7-8. So we have art, music, PE, and something we called iLab, which is innovation lab. It's design, thinking, and STEM together. And every student gets those every year. And then in 7-8, they get to choose their focus area. We do not offer sports. We don't have big enough classes. So we have 50 first grader, 50 second graders. And in middle school, it's hard to sort of field a team with only 50 students in a grade. But we do have sports clubs, which are like soccer club or basketball club and things like that. So there are ways to get involved in sports. And then once they reach high school, we have student athletes who are on their athletic teams at their home school, and they try out just like everybody else. So we have students right now, baseball, swim, track and field, cross country. We have volleyball, both male and female volleyball, football. So we do have athletes, and yes, we do have PE classes. The day starts at Westgate at 8 and ends at 3:30 every day. And ask that too. That's such a variable at every school. What time do these end? And please, if you want to see Westgate or any school in action, like sign up for a tour. Absolutely. There are not buses to Westgate. And I know there are not buses to Stargate or Prospect Ridge Academy, either the charters. We do Carline. We also have students who walk and ride their bikes. And then, but for neighborhood schools, It's determined by how far you live from your school, whether or not Adams 12 provides a bus. For our high schoolers who attend Front Range Community College, we provide a bus from Westgate to Front Range for them to get there for their college classes. So we work with Adams 12 to make that bus happen for our kids.
I was also
And-
just going to add that
Yes.
if parents haven't attended a tour with me,
Yes.
you can email me and we will, or give me a call, whatever is easy, and we can set up a tour. Because we do cover a lot of these things like the day-to-day logistics on a school tour, and it is an hour long. And we start in kindergarten, go all the way through high school, but we talk about lunches and recess and specials and classroom setup, class sizes, all of those types of things. So you can, if you're interested, then you can really hear what our program has to offer. And I would also recommend taking tours of the other schools. If you're looking at other ones as well, because Sharon and I always say it's like a big red flag if they're not willing to give you a tour of their school and their campus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another big question for me that was a deciding factor as a kinder parent was about before and after care. Because I knew if I was working at a school, I wouldn't be able to pick up at another school. And some schools it's a lottery to get into the before and after care program. At Westgate, it's open to all. So if you sign up, you have a place in before and after care through a partner company called Champions. And they've been our partner for, gosh, over 6 years. So that is something that's a good question to ask if you know you may need it a day or two a week or every day. Ask about before and after care because some schools it is a lottery. And that's difficult for families. I see one more person. There is a fee for before and after care. I don't know exactly what it is for Champions or what it will be for next year, but you can reach out to them. You can get to them through our website and call, and every school will have that. So you can ask what that fee is. Thank you, Rochelle. And you can find out. I don't know if they have their fee structure for next year. And they've been great. They cover half days and some of the full days out and holidays, not holidays, but the breaks around holidays. I know I always put my son in at least one of the days before Thanksgiving so I can run around and get things done. Oh, Carline. Carline is drop off and pick up, and every school it looks a little different. But you come in, and there's a sort of a safe place with adults that students get out of the car and then go into the school, and then so you go in and out of the school. And on our website, you can look. There's a map of our car line and how it works. We have it down to students get out at 3:30 and we have something called drive line. You have a number in your car and we type it in so your student stays safe in the building until their number is called and then they come up and by then you're at the front of the line. And we're down to start to finish within 15 minutes, 20 on a bad day after school. And before school, most people drop off between 7:40. The doors open up at 7:45. So students can come in at that time. Adults are out there 7:45, they come in and school starts at 8. So morning car line is sort of a rolling drop off and then the students go into the school. But that is something that we've all gotten used to, and it's a little bit slow at the beginning of the year, but then everybody gets used to it, and we get it down to a science by the mid-year for sure. All right. Thank you so much. If you think of anything, you get off this and you're talking about it and you're like, oh, I wish I would have asked. please email enrollment. Rochelle is amazing at getting the question to the right person. She can also help direct you if you're not sure where to go. She can help direct you to the right person in the district too, who can help. So please feel free to reach out. We are so very excited you were here. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Enjoy the journey. It only happens once.